Nisa Bulunaka, thank you very much for your attendance, and thank you very much for asking us to come and address you tonight. We will not be addressing you, we'll be just talking to you, and you can talk to us. But I've come a long way. I was in Delhi 2 days ago, got into Fiji at about 6 o'clock yesterday, went to Suva to try and sleep, got up very early to attend some meetings, and then started heading out west again. So I'm here because I'm here to meet some very interesting people who are very interested to see me and hear me. We're here to just talk about this great journey that we're on. We are here because you know we have to change direction. And we are here to go with you in the direction we believe is good for our country. We've all lived under the same leaders for so long. You know how much of the problems that we have seen, you have felt, you have carried. Now you're looking for what next? We are next. We are the change, and without your help, we cannot bring about that change. We're looking for your support, and you want to know what we have to offer. All we have to offer you is something totally different from where we're going. We're going to be moving away from dictatorial leadership. We're going to give back your rights to elect maybe you're out of the town boundaries, but we will give back the right for the people in municipalities to elect their own councils. We'll give back the people to elect their own officers and office bearers in the trade unions, etc. We will control military spending and also government spending. We have a big burden. We have driven ourselves into a very heavy debt burden, and we want to change that. And we do not have to be doing anything drastic. All it needs to do is for us to have a sensible look at how we're spending the money. We've spent too much, so much, that we will have to carry the burden for a long time. But not so long if we have a change in attitude, change in methodology, and particularly when we have people in government who are prepared to listen to the people. And that's why we have come tonight to just tell you, you will be free to give us your thoughts and your feelings as we move along, as we go along. We're into the campaign season. We're going to be saying a lot of things about ourselves, but you know where you want us to take you. So tell us about the problems you have, what you feel we need to do to make your lot better. Now,
I know Mr. Rambuka deliberately kept his speech short. I don't know whether that was a hint that I should take a bit longer and say a lot more than him. But one thing I want to begin by telling you people is that we are ready for 2022 election. And we are ready to have a new government after the election. And that government would be People's Alliance and NFP government. No matter what Frank Bainimarama and Ayaz Sayed Qayyum go around the country, whether it's prefect induction, whether it's giving rugby balls, whether it's using state media, whether they mount programs in Hindi or Eat OK, whether they take a vitriolic attack on Mr. Rambuka or me, nothing is going to work this time. We have traveled around the country. both Mr. Rambuka and I, we're talking to people in the villages, settlements, we're talking to farmers, we're talking to people in the squatter settlements, we're talking to the union members, we're talking to doctors, nurses, policemen, accountants, teachers. We're talking to people who have disabilities. We're talking to every sector of the community in this country. And all of them are giving this very, very clear message to us that they need a change. And that change they can see within the People's Alliance and the NFP partnership. It's a strong partnership, it's a historical partnership, and it's a partnership that is going to save this country from further disaster. And the disaster that this government, the Bainimarama government, and then the Fiji First government, has left this country into, will require visionary leadership. It will require working with our people. It will require giving you the freedom. It will require us as government to listen to you, to understand your problems, and put policies through consultation, through dialogue. But my friends, we have to know where we are before we can tell you where we want to go. Both the People's Alliance and the NFP, we will be putting out our policies, our vision for this country when the time is appropriate. But for now, my friends, we need to understand where we are. Somebody said that some minister for economy in Parliament was trying to defend the fact that we are not anywhere near Sri Lanka. People who have warned us that we might be heading towards Sri Lanka. But on one indicator, we are worse than Sri Lanka. We are worse than Sri Lanka. And I want to tell this to those in government who are parading themselves around the country to say that they have done something good for this country. Sri Lanka's population is 22 million. The debt level is 50 billion US, equivalent to 100 billion Fijian. When you look at per capita debt, which means total debt divided by every individual, men, women, and children, what is the burden? For Sri Lanka, if you divide that 100 billion by 22 million, it comes to about 4,500 Fijian dollars. Our debt level is heading towards 9 billion by the end of this year, and our population is 900,000. You divide that by, we have a debt burden, we will have a debt burden of about $10,000 on each individual's head in this country. That's worse than Sri Lanka. Worse than Sri Lanka. They said we have reduced the poverty rate. But the experts, the figures, is showing us that right now, my friends, the poverty level in this country is about 50%. 50% of the people in this country are struggling to put food on the table or make ends meet. You look at the health services. Before we came here, we met key stakeholders from Nadi, including members from the Chamber of Commerce. And one of the members said, the state of health services in Nadi, at the Nadi hospital. He talked about the police station. He talked about the deteriorating infrastructure in Nadi. He talked about the promises that this government made about Nadi becoming a city. But my friends, never in the history of this country, under no government, we had Ratumara government, we had Rambuka government, we had Garase government, never under any of those governments since 1970, we've had such disastrous health services in this country, never in the history of this country, that we have today, and that's the result of what this government has done. You look at the infrastructure around the country, the potholes, and now you can see throughout the country, graders walking, people are on the road, there are signs, potholes being filled. They are running around the country now, using your money. We passed through several government vehicles today and the light flashing on top. They're all scurrying around, trying to talk to our people using your resources. You look at the education system, the quality of education in this country. People are coming out with degrees with no jobs. They're not talking about that. What they are talking about is the past. They want to take you to the past. There is a radio station somewhere in this country funded by the taxpayers which runs some program called Aina, and I was told, I didn't listen to that, but somebody who listened to it told me that there was a vitriolic attack in Hindi program on the leader of the People's Alliance Party and the leader of NFP. They're not talking about 2000 coup, when Bainimarama was the commander of the military forces. They're not talking about 2006 coup, when he threw out the 1997 constitution, that this man, Sitiveni Rambuka, as Prime Minister, worked with the leader of the National Federation Party at that time, Justice Jairam Reddy, to deliver a world-acclaimed 97 constitution. They don't talk about many who were taken to the barracks in 2006, tortured, and many suffered. We, my friends, are not going into the past, because the people need the solutions to this. You know why they want to go to the past? You know why? Because they have run out of ideas. They don't know what to do with the problems that we have. Whether it's education, health, poverty, unemployment, roads, water supply, electricity, they're running out of ideas. They'd run out of money long ago. That is why they want to scare you. हमें डरवाना चाहते हैं वो. They want to scare us. And they are using state resources. It's shameful. शर्म की बात कि कल वो आईना प्रोग्राम में क्या हो रहा था. ये सब होगा. This is what they will do between now and the election. But let me tell you, our people are not fools. Our people understand what has happened in this country, where we are. They don't talk about the disastrous handling of the COVID crisis. 1,800 people died directly or indirectly as a result of COVID. When the COVID pandemic hit us, they were running around, they were all lost. The Prime Minister was nowhere to be seen. Ministers were nowhere to be seen. They left the permanent secretary, Dr. Fong, in front. They had no money. They had run out of money before COVID-19 hit us. We were in negative growth. If we didn't get about $1.5 billion in remittances from your families and friends from overseas in the last 2 years, if we didn't get budget support from Australia and New Zealand, if we didn't sell EFL for $400 million, of which 200 million went to government and 200 million went back to FNPF, if we didn't get the Japanese government loan of $200 million, if we didn't get ADB World Bank loan, my friends, we would have been in a dire. If we didn't get all the vaccines donated by countries from all over the world, what is this government bragging about? What have they got to talk? Yes, they only talk about fear. They invoke the past to stoke fear. They are running around the country. They're running around the country. They're using state resources in the guise of inducting our prefects. Suddenly, they're all out there inducting prefects. And in the guise of inducting the prefects, they are calling the parents because people are not going to the meetings. Look at all of you. We had 200 people last night. People are coming to our meetings because they know that we are the future. We are the future. No amount of propaganda from those who are funded by the taxpayers of this country will work this time. No amount of propaganda. We were in Singatoka earlier today, and I asked, do you ever see anything good about Biman Prasad in the Fiji Sun and FBC? And everybody put their hands up and said, never. Do you ever see anything good being said by Mr. Rambuka on FBC and Fiji Sun? They said never. That's the reality, my friends. That's the reality. That's the reality that we are dealing with. And it is shameful. It is shameful on those who run those media organizations, aided, funded by the taxpayers of this country, all of you. But I want to assure you that we have the people. We will have the leadership style. When you see some of the candidates announced by the People's Alliance, I know many of them. I know how progressive those people are, how talented those people are. In NFP, we will be announcing candidates, and you will find the same caliber of people that we are putting together. This partnership agreement that we have signed, Mr. Rambuka and I, is an agreement about the future. It has a vision about an inclusive government. It has a vision about a democratic government. It has a vision about sustainable economic development. It has a vision about respecting the rule of law. It has a vision about removing all the fear that has been created by this government and the two main rulers of this country, supported by the silent 25 who sit in parliament and nod their head and yell when we speak. That is the vision, that is the difference between the two-man leadership, the two-man government, and the government that we, the People's Alliance and the NFP, are going to form and run for this country. Let me say this. Repeat what I said at the beginning. We are going to be in government. All we are saying is keep the faith, keep the hope, work hard. We need the support of each one of you. We need to go to every individual in this country and tell them that this is the future. We will fight for all 55 seats each. The People's Alliance will fight 55 seats. They will field 55 candidates. We will field 55 candidates. We are going to fight for every vote in this country. And after the election results, the seats that the People's Alliance wins, the seat that NFP wins, a combination of those seats will be the government that will take you to the future. Thank you.